Hi, Wednesday, July 13th, 2016. Monaco 64 here, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. I'd like to discuss geopolitics this morning, and particularly Asian geopolitics. And I'll start with a name that you probably never heard of, and I hadn't ever heard of it prior to a couple of days ago. And it's called Nippon Kaiji. And it's basically Japanese for Japan Conference. It sounds quite, innocent as a organization. But I'll read a little bit about Nippon Kaiji. According to Wikipedia, Japan Conference is a Japanese nationalist, non-party political and state Shinto advocating religious organization that was established in 1997 and has approximately 38,000 members. The group is influential in legislative and executive branches of the Japanese government through its affiliates. Shinzo Abe, the Prime Minister of Japan, serves as a special advisor to the group's parliamentary league. So he's a top guy in this group. The ideals of Nippon Kaiji. So the group describes its aims as to change the post-war national consciousness based on the Tokyo Tribunal's view of history as a fundamental problem, and to revise the current constitution. So basically, the current constitution was implemented by the Americans, the occupying force after World War II, and it also blamed Japan for all the war atrocities during World War II and prior to World War II, because Japan got into war in Asia in the early 30s, I think, against China. So, and it goes on to say, Norimitsu Onishi considers that the organization promotes a revival of the fundamentals of the Empire of Japan. The nationalist movement sees its mission to promote patriotic education, the revision of the Constitution of Japan, and support for Prime Minister's official visit to the Yasukuni Shrine. These are shrines to, the war dead in Japan, and it's very controversial. Because the other countries in Asia, like China, South Korea, the Philippines, they feel pretty aggrieved by that. It's like Merkel going to a shrine for Adolf Hitler. So that's Nippon Kaiji, and this is Wikipedia, and there's also an article from a year ago in The Economist, which is, a globalist publication, and it's entitled Right Side Up, and it says a powerful little reported group claims it can restore the pre-war order. That's in Japan, and it says it is only 18 years old, and its name is innocuous, Nippon Kaiji, which simply means Japan Conference. Yet one of Japan's most powerful lobby groups, it has a shopping list of nationalist, indeed blatantly revisionist causes, applaud Japan's wartime liberation of East Asia from Western colonialism, rebuild the armed forces, inculcate patriotism among students brainwashed by left-wing teachers, and revere the emperor as he was worshipped in the good old days before the war. Far from crediting America's post-war occupation for bringing democracy, Nippon Kaiji's supporters say that the occupation and the liberal constitution that sprang from it has emasculated Japan. Oddly, the group receives little attention from the media in Japan, despite its strong and growing influence at the heart of government. And why do I bring that up now? Well, because we had the elections on July 10th in Japan on Sunday, for the upper house of the Diet, and the Prime Minister's party, the LDP, and his coalition won a 2/3 majority in the House, upper house, or the Senate, and 80% of his cabinet are members of Nippon Kaiji, and he's a member of Nippon Kaiji. And yes, the immediate reaction was all the talk about Ben Bernanke, Bank of Japan, and the helicopter money. And I also, talked about that quite extensively. But I missed, I have to admit, I missed this. And I think it's quite serious because in Japan, the constitution, the law in Japan is that if you want to change the constitution, you need a 2/3 majority in the lower house, which Mr. Abe's coalition already has. The election was in 2014. And then you need a 2/3 majority also in the Senate. So to get anything through to change the constitution, those two, parts of the Japanese diet, have to vote with a 2/3 majority, which he has. And then you have to put it through a national referendum to the people that only needs a simple majority of 50.01%, I guess. And that's, one of their big policy agendas now of this Nippon Kaiji, as you can see, is to turn back the clock and make Japan like it was before, they lost the war. And there's an important article in the Japanese Constitution, is Article 9, and it says that Japan shall not revert to war to solve its international problems. And that's been the very important part of the Constitution. And this group, which is led by Abe, they want to scrap that and change the Constitution completely. The other thing that they're for, they're very undemocratic, very fascistic. So quite interesting that they want to turn back the clock. Basically, is that as if someone was elected in Germany and decided to go back to how Germany was in the early 30s under the National Socialists. This is pretty, pretty worrying, I would say. But they do. I have read that 2/3 of Japanese people do not want to have the ability for their country to wage war, so they might have difficulty in scrapping that Article 9, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot of constitutional changes in Japan. And with that, in mind, I looked up about, China, because China and Japan, if you compare those two countries, historically, it's like Germany and France. So, France wouldn't be too impressed if we had someone coming in Germany and saying they're going to the, pre-World War II situation they were in the 30s, 1930s. So there's a story here from Japan Today, and it says, Japan ruling bloc election win threatens regional stability, says China's Xinhua. And it says, China's official news agency said on Monday a win for Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's ruling bloc in upper house elections posed a danger to regional stability, with lawmakers who favor revising the pacifist constitution holding a supermajority. And it goes on to say, commentaries by the Xinhua news agency are not formal government statements, but often reflect official thinking in China, where memories of Japan's past militarism still spark outrage. So it's a bit like, for the Dutch, the French, the Belgians, the Czechs, and the Baltic countries, memories of Germany's militarism spark outrage. So the same thing in Asia. What else? There's an article that I found, but it's in French, but it says, and I'm translating, why does China see red after Shinzo Abe party wins upper house elections. Well, they see red because, it's a big change for Japan, potentially. And then there's also recently, well, I think it was yesterday, and it's funny because I looked at it. Why does this ruling just came out, after, the Japanese political system has basically, it's a big earthquake. It's a little bit like Brexit, I would say, this upper house supermajority. Because, you could see Japan change completely and go back to how it was prior to the World War II. But it says here, because the International Tribunal ruled against China's claim of strategic waters in the China Sea. And this is just when Japan has elected this group of, revisionists. And it says, angry China warns against turning sea into cradle of war. So, yeah, all these, things have, sparked something in my head and said, this is worrying. This is alarm bells ringing, that Nippon Kaiji and the LDP they have the wherewithal now to change the Japanese constitution to how it used to be when Japan, invaded and conquered the whole of Southeast Asia. And I don't think China's very happy about that. So, yes, I think this is something, maybe nothing will come out of it, but I thought it's important for me to talk about it. Nippon Kaiji, Japan Conference. Could that be, like the black swan that no one's been looking at? Could that be a spark for war? I don't know, but it's not a spark for peace, that's for sure. So if you enjoyed this analysis, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. Bye.